Hi, everyone. I am Sam. I am the Director of Research at Proof NFT Statistics on Twitter, and Kevin is in Europe this week, so he asked me to host a podcast. I wanted to bring on Ray Chan. Ray is the CEO and founder of 9gag, a meme-sharing website that has over 200 million monthly active users, but he's also recently rolled out Memeland, which is a Web3 ecosystem with a couple NFTs associated with it. Potatoes is the biggest one. It was one of the most successful projects of summer, and they're launching a bigger project called Captains in November. So a little bit of what we talk about is what to expect from that rollout. He also just has huge visions for what he thinks Memeland and 9gag can become in the Web3 space. So it's really interesting to get his take on that longer term vision. Also, in anticipation of rolling out this project, he spent more than 1,000 ETH of personal wealth on NFTs across the ecosystem. He built out a Twitter with over 200,000 followers. And in doing so, he just has a lot of opinions, a lot of takes on what works and what does not work in NFTs. And it was really interesting to get his thoughts there. I hope you enjoy the conversation. I think this idea of Web 2 companies and in real life brands coming into NFTs is something we've seen a lot of, but something we'll see more and more of. So it was really interesting to get his thoughts on what works and what doesn't. Hey, everybody. This is Sam, NFT Stats on Twitter. Very excited to get to host a podcast, and even more excited because I'm here with Ray Chan. I actually spent 15 years of my life living in Hong Kong and got to know Ray there. I was running Uber, and 9gag was the biggest success story kind of that Hong Kong had. So we went to a lot of tech events together. And, as I've seen him build out Memeland and an NFT collection, it's just been really impressive what they've done. So really excited to have you here, Ray. How you doing today?
Yeah, good. Yeah, thanks for having me. I thought that because the moment that you message me on Twitter, right, and say that you are actually Sam, I was like stunned. Yeah, I didn't expect NFT Stacks, the account that I follow, is someone that I knew. Yeah, so it's like a amazing surprise. Yeah.
Yeah, there are all these. There are definitely pros and cons, I think, to having these anon accounts. But definitely one of my favorite things has been running into people who I knew in a prior life, and suddenly I'm a pink hair punk, and we're chatting about NFTs.
Yeah.
I guess just to start, why don't you tell us a little bit about 9gag and kind of the origin story there? I mean, it's been around since 2008 and you're still going strong. So how did that get founded? What was the beginning there?
Yeah, sure. I have 4 other co-founders. We started 9gag back in 2008. At the time when people still sharing funny photos and videos, right, via email and also AIM and MSN Messenger, right? It was pretty inconvenient. That's why at the time we thought, hey, can we start a website so that I can just upload the content to the website, and then I can just send the link to my friend on MSN or AIM, right? So instead of have to kind of like wait for the loading every time, that's why we created a website. Didn't expect it could be become a business, and then we kind of like running it part time. For 3 to 4 years. And then in 2011, we joined 500 Stops. And then after that, we raised a seed funding of 2.8 million US dollars. And then after that, we also joined Y Combinator. And then after that, we came back to Hong Kong to continue to build our company, to build our team, our products. Yeah. And then we branch out to social media platform. That's why most people know 9gag because they follow us on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or Twitter. Yeah.
And have you raised any money since then, or was it just the $2.8 million round?
Only the seed round, yeah. Because I think we were profitable before that. We are always profitable after that as well. Yeah, I think the challenge for us is we are profitable, but not really that big. But somehow I think there are a lot of reasons, right? That kind of like contribute to why we started Memeland. Yeah, but somehow I would say that for us is a very fun journey, right? And then our company mission was to make the world happier. And I think we kind of at least have done part of that, achieved some of that. Yeah.
I think for aggregation in general, it's such a competitive space. There's so many people out there just trying to aggregate funny, cool content. Like what do you think's made you stand out and get to 200 million users and just be this continual kind of like keynote platform?
I think there are a few reasons, right? Number one is I think a relatively better user experience. Yeah, I think at the time when we started, there are a lot of funny websites. I think funny websites always out there, right? But I think due to the monetization and business model, I think most of them they have pretty bad user experience. Yeah, and then at the time when we started, it's like a pet project for us. That's why we don't really care about money, right? And then that's why the user experience is always our focus. I think that's one thing. Another thing is because of our community, we have a pretty global audience. That's why the content is not super US centric, super US focused. I think that kind of like attract more people outside of the United States, and then that kind of help us to grow bigger over time.
So you alluded to it a little earlier. So tell me about the kind of the expansion into Web3 and building Memeland. What made you think that was a good idea?
Sure. We started to think about Memeland since last year. Yeah. And then we started to really do something from the beginning of this year. Yeah. At the time, we thought, I mean, people have been talking about Web3 cryptocurrency, NFT, for a few years already, right? Yeah. But we always, I'm personally, I kind of love the ideas of crypto because of decentralization, right? Because of ownership. Yeah. But at the beginning, I didn't really pay too much attention to NFT because I feel like, hey, how come people would pay thousands or millions of dollars, right, for a JPEG, right? That was what I thought. Yeah. But after kind of like jump into the rabbit hole, I started to understand more about the power of NFT. That's why starting from this year, I personally started to buy a lot of NFTs, try to jump into different communities to see, hey, what they are, what they do, why they do what they do, right? Yeah, and then in April we started to launch the Memeland Twitter and also the website, and we continue to develop since then.
So what were some of the NFTs that you bought when you were in your exploration journey there? What was that experience like?
Yeah, the first NFT that I bought was a Bored Ape. I still have it. Yeah, and at the time I thought, hey, this is my first NFT, right? And then maybe I just bought an expensive one, and then people will know that, hey, we are starting our Web3 company and stuff, right? Yeah, but then we found out people don't really give a fuck. Yeah, because a lot of people have a Bored Ape. At least 10,000 people have a Bored Ape, right? And then and the thing is, it's not about whether you only own an NFT, right? You have to kind of like be part of a community in order to get to know the people in the community. Yeah, that's why after that I started to buy quite a lot of I would say NFTs from good communities like Kaiju Kings, Gutter Cat Gang, and of course the Moonbergs. Yeah, and then started to learn from the communities and also learn from the so-called Web3 native team to see how they build their company. Yeah.
So as you were kind of going into Kaiju Kings and Gutter Cat Gang and Moonbirds and these different discords, what'd you learn about what makes communities do well in this space?
I think they started quite differently because the crowd is very different for each project. Yeah, but ultimately it's more about how they can get a group of people who really like each other, not just because of the financial returns on investing in NFT, but also just love to be part of the server, part of the community, so that they hang out there each day and then they talk about interesting stuff. Yeah, I think those are the things that started to got me really, really, I would say, admiring NFT, and I somehow feel like, hey, maybe this can be an even bigger application of blockchain than cryptocurrency. At the end of the day, maybe there will be a few crypto that become really, really mainstream and popular, right? But there can be thousands or even millions of NFT communities that can survive and thrive. Yeah, that's why we started to build our own NFT community instead of launch our cryptocurrency. Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit more about Memeland. What has that journey been like? What have you done to in this world of so many NFTs, what have you done to make it feel unique and differentiated?
I think the biggest difference for us is I mean, there are tons of NFT projects out there, right? Some teams are dogs, some teams are not, right? But there are not that many projects that have teams with, I would say, enough Web2, especially community building experience, right? I think NineGet is, on one hand, we are one of the largest Web2 communities out there. Yeah, that's why when we start our Web3 journey, it feels like so natural. It's kind of like, hey, we are from primary school and then we are now going to middle school or high school. Yeah, and then, and that was what I thought. Yeah, but of course, history, no, not history, but the market has told me, hey, this is not exactly the case, because at the end of the day, for Web2 community, people don't really pay you. Yeah, they only spend their time on your website, on your social media, but they don't actually pay you money, right? That's why even if they are demanding, they're not that demanding. Yeah, but for Web3, yeah, because people spend money to buy your NFT, yeah, that's why the demand, the requirement, the requests from the communities are kind of like super high demanding and high speed space. I think those are very interesting to me. But at the end of the day, I think what differentiates NineGet from other projects is because we understand how to build a community. We also have experience build a big community, right? And we see, I would say, the inefficiency of Web2. That's why we wanted to leverage the blockchain to kind of like execute the vision that we have. Yeah, but we couldn't do so in Web2. Yeah, for example, can we empower the creators as well as the communities, right, to do what they like? Yeah, instead of have to do a very indirect way to make a living, right? For example, like in Web3, it seems very straightforward. Hey, you create good content, you create good NFT, people are willing to buy it, right? And then the creators can either earn royalty or also earn the means, yeah, and then they can continue to do their job that they like, right? And then the holders can be part of it because they pay something, right? They have to say, yeah, so that the relationship is very close, it's very direct. Meanwhile, in Web2, it feels as a creator, you have to build your followings, right? Build your audience, and then you have to talk to advertisers, and then if the advertisers like you can do some sponsor content, but your fans may not like it, right? There's always some kind of struggle between the different parties. Yeah, so I would say that for us is understanding the bets of Web2, but also have the experience of building in Web2, and then we try to bring that into our Web3 projects on Memeland.
I do want to come back to that because I am really curious, kind of as someone running a business, how you've seen just like the differences in revenue generation and ability to build a business in kind of the website Web2 world versus what you've done with NFTs. But touching a little bit more on Memeland, what I mean, in some ways, when I heard 9gag was starting an NFT, I was like, in many ways, this is perfect because so much of the NFT community is just about how do you maintain attention over a long period of time. And your website is so good at just keeping attention flowing and keeping people coming back and getting people, building memes and talking about them and passing them around. Do you think that experience, like, in what ways have you brought that to Memeland and to Potatoes? Like, can you talk a little bit about how you've brought that voice to the Web3 space?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there are tons of websites that are so-called Web2, right? Yeah, but most of them, they don't really interact with their community. They don't really interact with their fans. Yeah, but for us, we have to, right? Because on one hand, Nike.com is like a very community-driven website. On the other hand, even for our social media, all the content submitted by the creators. So, I mean, the nature itself is very similar to what we call a Web3. It's just we don't have the token. We don't have the blockchain element. Yeah. And then that's why when we started, we feel like it's very natural for us to do that. Yeah. But the thing is, I find it kind of funny and also a little bit ridiculous in the sense that while Web3 is so young, so early, right? There are a lot of people kind of like proud of their identity of so-called Web3 native and stuff. Yeah. And then they will kind of like look down on any Web2 business trying to launch a Web3 projects, probably because they get burned for many times, because a lot of projects, they only try to build something and then to try to take away your ETH instead of building the value into the ecosystem, right? That's why that's what we got a lot of fun and also a lot of criticism at the beginning. Yeah, especially when we launch our first collection, UW MVP, we launch it at a mean price 5.3 ETH. It's like a very high price. Yeah, and then and we launch at a time where Luna and also USD kind of like crashed the market, and then we launch it kind of the second day after Luna has crashed. Yeah, and that's why the sentiment was so bad. And then online, especially in NFT and crypto Twitter, right? People love to see someone fail. Yeah, especially someone with a name. Yeah, they want to love to see you fail. Yeah, and then but the thing is for us, we see this is like a pretty bad launch, but it's not a very very bad launch. That's why we continue to build, and then we launch potatoes, right? Due to the market change, the so-called free meme meta started by Goblin Town, yeah, and then we launch a free meme of potatoes, and then we try to gather the audience, we try to gather the members to understand more what they want instead of what we really want to build, so that we interact with each other, with our community frequently. And then we started to see UW MVP, the floor price, the price shoot up, and then the potatoes is also doing quite well right now. Yeah, and people are very excited about our upcoming launch, the Captains, which is our main collection. Yeah, so I would say, although it's like only less than half a year, it's like 5 to 6 months, but I feel like I've been working on it for like 5 to 6 years already. Yeah, the timing is really crazy. Yeah.
For sure. I mean, yeah, launching right after after the Luna blow up is, clearly could have been better, but yeah, no, it is impressive that it's kind of that you've stuck around and built through that. But going back a little bit, so what are so break down those the three NFTs you're talking about. You mentioned the real MVP. You minted that out at 5.3 ETH.
Yep.
And how many of those were you able to sell?
We wanted to sell 300. Turns out we sold 200. Yeah. And then we say, fuck it, all others, right? We just put that into treasury instead of going to public, right? Because I think a lot of the times, most Web3 projects, they really wanted to sell out because they really need that money, right? Either for rug or for building, right? Yeah, but for us, it's more like, I mean, getting the mean money is good, right? Because it's like funding for us. But even if we don't get it, it's also good, right? Because somehow we already allocate our budget to build it anyway. Yeah, that's why for us, we just say, hey, fuck it. And then we just put all of the unminted MVP to our treasury. By the way, looking back, this may be one of the best decisions that we've made, yeah, since our Web3 journey. Yeah, and then I think
say more about that. Why is it such a good decision to have all this treasury treasury stash of NFTs?
Yeah, because after we launch the potatoes, right, we launch our own staking mechanism. We're quite growing. Right? We take reference from Moonbergs, yeah, and then we learn from Moonbergs, yeah. One thing that we wanted to do is because we are based in Hong Kong, yeah, and then we feel like, hey, it's so troublesome to handle any logistics and stuff. That's why we wanted to give back to the holders who stake their NFT, who grow their potatoes, right? But we don't really want to handle all the logistics like e-commerce and stuff. That's why from the beginning, we always think about, hey, if there is any reward, any prize, yeah, maybe we should do it in an NFT format instead of at a physical goods format. And that's why with the treasury of MVP and also potatoes, we can kind of like use them as some of the prizes for a weekly prize draw. And then we can gradually release the treasury back to the market on one hand, and also kind of like giving back to the community on the other hand. Yeah.
Got it. So, I mean, one of the interesting things about your project has been the rewards you've given out for people who have grown or who've nested. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? I'm going to throw up or put on the screen here. So people can see some of these rewards you've put out. But how have you generally thought about rewards for people who have nested or who have grown?
I think the key is unlike crypto, right? When unlike a POS crypto, when you stake, you get some rewards, right? For most NFT projects, when they stake their NFT, somehow the users don't get much, or they just get something that is not very useful, right? Yeah, we tried to give our holders something that they like and they want, that's why we leverage the growing mechanism. We call it grow to win, to give away some interesting and funny prizes. Yeah, for example, the one on the screen is like we give away 10 iPhone 14 Pro when Apple launched the iPhone. We also give away two prizes for free McDonald's for a year. And also next week we are giving away a 69 1,000 gym stipend for the winners, right? Yeah, I think we try to leverage that on one hand to create some hype among the community, right? On the other hand, we leverage it as a platform to build out the new kind of marketing channel for Memeland, for us. Because through our experience in NICAP, we got approached by a lot of brands after we launched Memeland. They said, "Hey, Ray," of course they don't talk to me, right? Because we have our salespeople. Yeah, but Ray, we really wanted to go into Web3, but we are afraid because it seems like most projects they don't work, right? And then the sentiment towards NFT seems pretty bad, right? Can we do something safe but also Web3, right? That's why for us, it's pretty easy for us to talk to them. We basically, our team is like talking to a lot of mainstream brands, and then they're willing to sponsor some goods or some prizes for the audience, so that hey, the audience can get to know them because it's very targeted. All the holders are NFT buyers, right? So that they can kind of like started to build up a name for themselves in Web3 on one hand, but also on the other hand, the cost for them is so low. And also for us, Memeland, is we also leverage this as a platform, a new marketing channel, right? So it's like win-win-win for all the parties here. Yeah, I think this is something that we wanted to build with our grow to win mechanism. Yeah.
So how does this work here actually? So we have this free McDonald's for a year NFT basically, right? That people can buy and sell that NFT. What does what happens when someone owns it and wants to redeem it?
Yep. For each prizes, we do it differently. Yeah, I think the key is how can we minimize our I would say the logistics troubles. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we are still very small team in Memeland, right? Yeah, and that's why, for example, like for iPhone, it's very easy. Yeah, you win the prize through our prize draw, and then you just buy the iPhone, and then we can send you the so-called the refund, right? Yeah, I think that's one thing. And then for McDonald's, there are two winners. Yeah, right now we're talking to them. First of all, we know where they are based, so that we can calculate what exactly does it cost to eat McDonald's for a year, right? Yeah, I mean whether they actually eat it, it doesn't matter. But the thing is, it's like a marketing. It's like a trick, a gimmick, right? That people are willing to win, right? Instead of hey, just say hey, I give you NFT or I give you some ETH and stuff like that. Yeah, because at the end of the day, people spend ETH to buy NFT. They don't just look for ETH in return, right? They also want something fun. They also want something interesting. Yeah, that's why we have the McDonald's idea. Yeah, I don't know whether our two winners will actually eat McDonald's for a year, right? But there are many ways to do that. On one hand, we can just, hey, you just spend the money, right? And then we can just refund you. On the other hand, hey, can we work with the creators? Can we work with the winners, right? To create some content when you give away some free food to help the needed and stuff like that. I think those are, I would say that as long as we create a vessel for this kind of creative idea, then there are many, many ways that we can do things. Yeah.
Two things I love about this. I mean, first of all, I think whenever NFTs end up entering into real life prizes, and not even just prizes, like in real life utility, in real life rewards, it can often be very, very hard for those rewards to live up to the prices people are paying for NFTs. You know, I mean, if you even with potatoes, you're already looking at like a $2,000 NFT. I think it becomes very difficult to, to throw in whatever real life perks are. It's hard to come up with something that's that valuable. I mean, you can do it, but a lot of times it doesn't kind of meet what people are in it for. So I love that you have gone two routes. One is giving people NFTs as prizes. Like people are here for NFTs and you're giving them more NFTs, and those have like ETH value that people want. And then the second is the one when you are going in real life, they're really good marketing employees. Like I tweeted about your free McDonald's for a year, and I think it got 1,000 likes. Like it just gained virality, and it feels like that's what you guys are really, really good at, is figuring out how to create virality.
This is our job at Nightget, right? Yeah. So it's I wouldn't say it's easy peasy, but more like it's really natural. Yeah. Brands ask us to do that for them. Right now, we are just doing that for ourselves. Yeah.
And how is the Memeland voice? Because your Twitter also is really funny. Like it's funny. It never really crosses the line too far, but it always bumps up against it. Like, do you have the same people running your social media for Memeland as for 9gag? Have you really just kind of transported that team over?
Oh, we basically built a new team. But this time, I mean, to be honest, right, for 9gag, I don't work on the front line for some time already, right? It's more like management, that kind of style, right? But for Web3, I really kind of like lead the team, because on one hand, not that many members of our team they understand NFT or they bought NFT. Yeah, that's why I feel like, hey, this is fun, and I bought a lot, right? Maybe this is a time for me to actually to be hands on again, because this is fun, and this is, I would say, the potential is huge. It's worth spending my precious time to on it. And that's one thing. On the other hand, is I feel like when answering back to your question, like the Twitter, right? Yeah, I sometimes I manage our Memeland Twitter account. Sometimes I manage our my Nightget CEO account. But at the end of the day, I feel like, hey, how come most brand projects, right? How come the Twitter are kind of like that, right? This is like one of the good tools, one of the good platforms for them to engage with their audience, right? Of course, I mean, you will get the most engagement before you mint, because people will keep asking for your whitelist, when means, and stuff like that, right? But after that, you still have to continue to deliver, because otherwise, how can you build up the audience, right? Because at the end of the day, what's important is not at the time when people look at you. What's important is the time that people don't look at you, and you still keep working, right? And we learned that from Nightget. We know that this is the way to go for a product, for a social media brand. Yeah, that's why we continue to tweet whether there is engagement or not, right? But at the end of the day, we feel like maybe we can add some humor, add some interesting angle, right, to our Twitter, instead of just talk about our own project. That's why you can see sometimes we engage with our users. Sometimes we do shit posting, right? You don't see a lot of I would say team account that does that. Yeah, but I feel like, hey, this is the way to go. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things you said when we spoke last time, you mentioned that a lot of projects struggle because they just never dreamed that so many people would spend so much money on JPEGs. So they get surprised that they mint out at such high prices and then don't really know what to do. And I think that what you're saying here speaks to that. Like, you have to, when you're getting started, you really have to be ready for those next steps. Like that initial hype, that initial attention is really, really kind of, it's not easy at all, but it's certainly a skill set and something that a lot of projects have figured out. But it's like the second month, the third month that totally really test you and see if you can kind of win the attention game.
Yeah. I mean, it's very funny, right? Because when we first started, we see that so many projects, right? They have the so-called roadmaps. Yeah. And I feel like, hey, it seems like those business plan competition in university, right? It's kind of like some students, right, make up a plan that sounds so grand, so great, right? But it would never work the moment that it started to do that in real life, right? And then that's why we don't have a roadmap at Memeland. Right? Of course, we have some direction, yeah, but we don't have a roadmap, and that kind of like gives us more freedom, and then to adjust and also adapt to the market, right? Yeah, I think those are the things that we feel like, oh, although NFT seems like so hard, maybe not so hot right now at the moment, right? But it's really, really early, right? Because even the top team, the best companies, right, in the space is like 1 to 2 years old. Most companies, right, they have a great launch, they have a great one in the bull market. But at the so-called bear market right now, it seems like they're struggling really, really hard. On one hand, because they never seen this before, right? On the other hand, is building a good company is more than just marketing. It's more than just artwork. Yeah. But these are the two things that people only care about when they mint an NFT. But you and I know that, hey, we actually have to build a product that's valuable, right? But how to manage the mystery on one hand, how to communicate on the other hand, I think those are the things that is kind of like art and science already. Yeah, and those are the things we are still learning, right? But we believe that it's not really that hard because somehow, whether it's Web 2 or Web 3, how to build company, I would say it's more or less the same. Yeah, but how we see our holders, how we see our users, I think that part is the biggest difference. Yeah.
And what have been the big lessons you've learned since launching here, as far as how to communicate, how to view your holders? What surprised you?
I I think I mean I believe that there are different ways to be successful, right? Yeah, that's why we pick our way. It doesn't mean that hey, we think the other ways don't work. It's just that we feel more comfortable in the ways that we do things. That's why one of the biggest lessons that I try to do is and I learned is can we continue our communication? Right. This is something that I also learned from Kevin from Proof. Yeah, is hey, can we be more communicative? Yeah, but at the same time, can we be also a little bit mysterious? Right. I wouldn't say that we are very good at storytelling. Yeah, because if you know me, I'm not a good storyteller, right? I can't really create a great lore and then some very, very big vision projects like Jenkins the writer, right? I'm not that kind of guy. I'm more like a problem-solving guy. I'm more like a product guy. That's why, hey, the lore, we just put it there, right? It's fun because it gives people imagination, right? But at the end of the day, we're building something more useful down the road that solves, I would say, more valuable problems. Yeah, and those are the things that we have to do that, but somehow we can't say we only do that. Yeah, it's like how you can on one hand maintain the suspense, but on the other hand you kind of like release good enough info so that people know that hey, you are different. You're not just like another storytelling or another artwork projects. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you say you don't have a roadmap, but let's go a little bit into kind of what Memeland is and what's out there. So you already mentioned You the Real MVP, about 300 NFTs. That floor is like at 27 ETH right now.
Yeah. The total collection is like 420. Yeah, we wanted to sell 300 at the time. Yeah, and we also gave all our team members one MVP. Yeah, and also give our advisor one MVP. Yeah, because we feel like hey, I mean, on one hand, we want our team members to have a skin in the game so that they care more, right? Yeah. On the other hand, for advisors, is hey, we use their faces, and also our investors, we use their faces on our launch website. So somehow we feel like, hey, this is a good way to kind of like at least give back to them a little bit. Yeah.
And so you have that top tier though. What are the perks of You the Real MVP? Like what does that NFT give you?
I would say we think about our collections in 3 tiers. Yeah, MVP is like the first class, and then we have the captains. It's like the business class, and then potatoes is like the economic class. Yeah, so MVP, the whole function on one hand is it's like a premium group. It's kind of like Proof. Yeah, in the Proof ecosystem, the Proof the collective, right? Yeah, and if you hold the MVP, you are entitled to 2 free mints when we launch the captains. Yeah. You're also entitled to all the future so-called projects, right, that we launch, or you will have allow list. And then when you grow your potatoes, because when you grow your potatoes, you can earn tickets, 1 ticket per 7 week. If you hold your MVP, you will have double the ticket. Yeah, so it's like the boost in the ecosystem. Yeah, so if you hold that, you can boost up all your other holdings. Yeah, this is the MVP position. Yeah.
Okay, so say more about. So you launched potatoes first, but they're the 3rd tier. So they're the economy class, and captains, which you're launching next, is the business class. Is kind of like, I guess if you want to map it onto Moonbirds, you'd have the collective pass being the MVP. The captains, I guess, are the Moonbirds, and maybe it's a bad comparison, but maybe potatoes are like oddities or kind of like a 3rd tier within the ecosystem. How did you decide to launch the 3rd before the 2nd? And are potatoes going to be able to get captains, or how's that going to work?
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, the value of a collection doesn't depend on the time of launch. It depends on how much the team wants to position and inject into each collection, right? Just imagine, right? If Proof mentioned that, hey, right now oddities, right? If you own an oddities, you're entitled to all the benefits that Proof has, right? Then immediately oddities will not become the the third tier collection, right? So so the time of when a project is launched, it doesn't really matter that much. And we launched potatoes is because at the time the market was super bad, and then we feel like, hey, how can we keep up the discussion, the hype about Memeland, right? And at least from my observation, is the best way to keep up the communication, to keep up the hype is you launch something. Yeah, that's why we launched the potatoes. Yeah, and then we launched the potatoes. To be honest, right, we didn't really think too much. Yeah, but we always believe that, hey, how can we make each collections connected to each other? I think this is something that we want to do because from my observation, a lot of projects, they don't do that. Each collection is kind of like separated, right? Oh, it's like good tier, and then it's like the top tier, and then it's like mid tier. But between each tier, there's no interaction. There is no connection. Yeah. Other than hey, maybe if you hold the top tier, maybe you will get an airdrop and stuff. Yeah. I feel like this is like underutilized the whole community because at the end of the day, as far as I see, most people who believe in you, they don't mind own your whole ecosystem. Yeah. But for new users, right, they are willing to buy into a project, yeah, from the lower tier project, right? And for us, because we are not so-called Web3 native, right, we wanted to learn more before we launch the main collection. It's kind of like in a more like a product making sense in the way that, hey, you launch a trial product, right, before you launch the main product. Yeah, you soft launch it. I think potatoes give us the experience of, hey, how to launch a minting website, how to handle the smart contract, right? How to build a community, and not any other community, but an NFT community that is token gated, right? I think those are the things that give us a pretty good grasp of how we should launch our main collection. Yeah, I think that indeed makes more sense than, hey, you launch the top tier, yeah, and then you launch some lower tier. Because to be honest, right, for the lower tier ones, somehow when you tell people this is the lower tier, I think most people don't really care that much. Yeah. So I would say that the way that we do it is kind of like unconventional, but somehow at least it works for us so far. Yeah.
And how do you plan to make captains different? Like, what can we expect from captains? How will that be differentiated from potatoes? What should we look forward to there?
Yeah, as we mentioned, right, the value of a collection depends a lot on how the team handle that. Yeah, that's why if we say, hey, the captains is the middle class, is the business class, yeah, definitely we will give more perks to the collection. Yeah. And down the road, it's pretty straightforward because what we see NFT is we can't just use NFT drop as a revenue source. Yeah. I think at the end of the day, we are leveraging US NFT, not UST, yeah, NFT, yeah, to build, I would say, a more trusted community. Yeah, so that we can talk to them, so that they can be kind of like our focus group. Yeah, and also when we grow with them. They can also kind of like get more value, right, yeah, from our success. Yeah, and that's why, hey, after launching captains, the next big things for us would be launching our fungible token. We call it meme. Yeah, and I think that part is actually the main dish. Yeah, because at the end of the day, when there are few collections, and also when there are, I would say, usable product down the road, how can we link them up, right? Because each of them, they perform such a different functions. Yeah, and the meme token or meme coin would be the one that kind of like link up the whole picture. Yeah, and of course, due to the positioning of MVP captains and also potatoes, right? Maybe they will get different amount of meme drop, and also the tokenization is pretty different for them. Yeah, the tokenomics is different for them. Yeah.
Will there be more to the NFT than being a token generation tool? Are there other aspects that you think are going to be able to help kind of maintain the value over time?
Oh yeah, totally. I think. I mean, this is wrong, right? Because this is wrong to say that NFT is like shares in a company, right? But somehow the application of DAO and a token gated community, I think they share a lot of benefits of kind of like building a community, building a company together. I think that indeed enables and also empowers the whole community and company to actually build things together. Yeah, because in the past, I mean when we were at YC, right, the teaching was always like, hey, can you get 10 to 100 users really, really love your products, right? But the thing is, people who say that they love your product, the moment that you ask them to pay, they don't pay, right? Then they don't really love your product that much. But for NFT, they actually pay first, right? So somehow by default, they have to like you. Yeah, so that's why a lot of people pump their own bets on Twitter, right? Yeah, so I think that kind of like changed the dynamic because they feel like, hey, I have a skin in the game. That's why I'm willing to spend more time to make a better product for you, to become the ambassador, the marketer of your future product. I think that part is really, really powerful because if we can get 1,000 people to talk about a new product that we are launching, right? I think that part saves a lot of marketing dollars for like traditional company. Yeah, and right now because of our ecosystem, right, we will have like 10,000 or even 20,000 people who are part of our community, who have a skin in the game, right? I think that part will definitely helps to kind of like any future product launcher to be more, I would say, meaningful and impactful. Yeah.
One of the things that your account tweeted about was holders.com and the tweet was something like, we've acquired holders.com. This is going to be the platform, or this is going to be house some of our Web3 products. Like what's that all about? What should we expect from holders.com?
Yeah, I can't talk about that much because we are still in a very early phase. But one thing that I can share is I feel like maybe because the people who buy and sell NFT, they understand that this is blockchain. That's why when they make decision, they usually make decision based on numbers, and also based on data, right? That's why NFT statistics is so popular, right? Yeah, because you share digestible information, right? So that people who don't know how to read smart contract and how to read data, they can understand it easily. Yeah, I believe that in NFT, there's a lot of human psychology in it. It's more than just money or monetary value, more than just on-chain data. Yeah, there are some, I would say, intangible value that is not yet captured in blockchain, right? Those are the things that's why you see a lot of people, they share how awesome their community is, right? They share, hey, it's great to meet the other holders in real life. I think those are the things that it's really hard to find a place to capture all of them with some backing, some data, right? Some simple integration with wallet or tracking and stuff like that to say that, hey, you are owner of Moonbergs, right? And then you say Moonberg is awesome, right? Then I know that why you say Moonberg is awesome. But I can also look at what you say and how long you hold it, right? Instead of, hey, maybe you just buy it to pump it and then dump it. Yeah, I think those are the things that should be pretty easy to do. Yeah, and that's very valuable. Yeah, that's why for holders.com, I would say our imagination for it is more like, can it become the Yelp and also TripAdvisor or Glassdoor, or this kind of so-called review comment website for all things NFT, for all things Web3? Because if we believe that NFT is the way, then there will be more brands launching the NFT one format or another, right? But basically, they are token, they are blockchain related. Yeah. Can we have a place where I can easily find all the information I want instead of just, hey, I have to search the project name on Twitter, right? And you know that the Twitter search result is kind of like sucks, right? For this kind of research. Yeah. And I think this is what we really want to build with holders.com. And if we can really execute that, we don't really need to have a community of like only the Memeland community, but every community out there can be benefited from this product. Yeah. And at the time, we can probably become a place to gather the largest number of Web3 and NFT participants and also holders. This is what we want for holders.com. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say there really isn't a great kind of like review site like the Yelp or Glassdoor, as you say. Like the NFT space doesn't really seem to have that right now, where the place you can go to understand what's going on with the collection or get peer feedback, or there's just something new every single day. So I feel like and a lot of the maze here is just figuring out if something's even real in the first place.
Yep.
And
So, I mean, it's kind of like ridiculous, right? Because when we launch a marketing campaign, I mean, traditionally you will blast it out so that the world can know. And then with Facebook, with all those social media companies, right, you will have better targeting. Yeah, so people who know it, who you want to the people who you want them to know, they have a good chance to know it, right? But for NFT community, it seems like everything you do, you only announce it on Discord, but the people who come back to your Discord is like only a small percentage of your holders, right? And people who really follow your Twitter and see your tweets every day is also a small subset of your total holder base, right? Why can't there be a tool to kind of like make it very easy for future buyers as well as current holders to see all the information together? Yeah, I think this is such a no-brainer. I mean, whether Memeland, buildholders.com, or whether there's any other projects out there, I think this is definitely a very interesting project to solve, because when you talk to our normies, the first question that they ask is, hey, what NFT should I buy, right? And then other than you give them the one that you have and pump your own bet, how can they get more information? We talk about DYOR, do your own research, right? But it's fucking hard to do research, in NFT, right? Yeah, how come we can't have tools to do that? Yeah, those are the things that we want to solve at holders.com. And also somehow right now the norm for our NFT project is to, hey, you have to start a Discord and do a lot of Discord engagement, right? And set up tons of channels, right, inside. But the thing is, people don't really give a fuck about most of the channels. Yeah. So, but this is like a very high barrier for most of the creators and brands. Yeah, because they feel like, hey, I have to manage one more social platform called Discord. And there are so many hacks, there are so many bots, right? How can I do that, right? Can we simplify that? Yeah, I think down the road, holders.com also want to solve that problem. Yeah.
So we got a TripAdvisor of NFTs coming to you via Memeland, something like that. Sounds like that's kind of the basic idea.
Something like that, yeah.
And somehow maybe the meme token and potatoes and captains and everything can interact in some way, shape, or form.
Yes, yeah. And I think at the end of the day, we see ourselves are not NFT companies, right? Not NFT collection. Yeah, we see ourselves as like a Web3 builders, right? We try to build products, but this time we don't need to raise funding from investors, from funds, but we kind of like do something together with the one who believe in the vision that we have. Yeah, and I think this is better, right? Because I mean, from the project standpoint, of course you still have to talk to your holders, but somehow you don't really give away control that much. Yeah, and I think that is good for teams, for founders that have a vision that want to execute. Yeah, and down the road, the more that you build, the better that you kind of like explain your vision. Maybe you can attract more people to buy into your ecosystem. And if they don't like, they can also sell. I think that's also a higher liquidity comparing to traditional angel investment and stuff. I mean, it's like borderline, kind of like touch on some legal related stuff. But I would say that the whole things is like kind of like a crowdfunding. Yeah, but in a way that you have a value to resell instead of you are the customers. Yeah, you are kind of like an owner. Yeah, and I think that part is what makes it awesome. Yeah.
So that kind of takes us back to that question I did want to ask you a little earlier, which is when you like running your business now as you do. You know, obviously you have a very successful business in 9gag. How different is the business of running an NFT project? The royalty revenue, the mint revenue, all those different ways of making money. How would you compare running this Web3 business versus running the Web2 one? And where do you want to focus most of your company's time?
Yeah. So, not gonna lie, I don't spend that much time on 9gag right now. Yeah, because I think focus is pretty important, right? I have a newborn at home. I'm already kind of like distracted. Yeah, but somehow I feel like Web3 is a new future, right? So I believe that it would be better for me to spend my time on Web3, instead of on 9gag, because 9gag we have a good team to run it, right? Yeah, and I think the revenue part, I think I would say is the most fascinating part of Web3 to me, because for media company, for social media company or platform like 9gag, traditionally, as I mentioned before, you have to build the audience, build a user base, and then you have to find advertisers, right? And then you have to create content and also promote ads that your users don't want. So there's a conflict of interest between the parties, advertisers, the users, and also the company itself, right? But right now in Web3, I mean, advertising, maybe there will be some advertising in different format, but the core nature is hey, you're responsible to your holders, right? They kind of like fund you at the beginning, so that you don't have to worry about how to make money at the first few months or years, right? And then you can focus on building out your vision. Yeah, and then through royalty and other forms of revenue, right? You can gradually to build up a actual company. Yeah, I think those are the things that that I would say is very different and also very I would say interesting for me. And also the royalty part is kind of like unique, right, in NFT. And I think those are the things that I really like when I'm building in Web3. Yeah.
Cool. A few hot questions in the community right now. I'm curious to get your take on. The first is exactly what you're talking about. Like the conflict, as more and more projects have been funded by venture capitalists, there's more discussion in the community about the conflict between shareholders and NFT holders. What's your take on that? Do you see that conflict there? How do you avoid it?
I think there will be conflicts anyway. Yeah, because even just without investors, right? Even just the team and also the holders, there are already tons of conflicts, right? Because somehow holders always want things to launch faster, right? And then the team wants to launch things at the right time. Yeah, I think there are always conflicts. Yeah, but the thing is, with NFT, with Web3, I would say that a team usually has I would say a bigger say in designing which direction to go. Yeah, because I mean, Sam, you're based in the US, right? And you were living in Hong Kong. Although I would say you can build a company anywhere, but somehow it would be better for you to build a company in certain countries. For example, like the US, the China, where you have a big local market and the investor and also the startup ecosystem is more, I would say, mature, right? And then if you can build something, hey, you can easily go down to the street and then you can meet tons of investors and then they are willing to fund your projects. Yeah. But the thing is, as a company building for global market but based in Hong Kong, we feel like, hey, that is not actually the path. That's why after our seed funding in 2012, we didn't raise any money. It's not because we don't want. It's because it's really hard to convince people that, hey, we are actually building something big in Hong Kong. Yeah, but in Web3, people don't care where you are, right? Because, hey, they believe in your vision and you execute. They're willing to fund you. And they don't have to be some big shot investor in the US, right? Of course, there are so-called whales and stuff. But, I mean, no matter how rich a whale is, it's not richer than 10,000 NFT buyers most of the time. Yeah. So I would say that this is kind of decentralized. You can't totally get rid of investors, right? But somehow it gives more choices for teams that cannot really go after the investor route. I think that's one thing. But at the end of the day, it's pretty straightforward for investors. What they look for is return on their investment, right? And for a team, sometimes you also look for return on investment, but you also want to execute the vision that you set out to build. Yeah, so that I would say that there will be conflicts. But with NFT, with I would say with the so-called crowdfunding, right, from the community, I think teams have more choices, and that's why when you see NFT, a good Web3 and NFT team, when they raise funding, right, they usually can have more bargaining power when they talk to investors. Yeah.
Do you have any sense of where your holders are based? Are they Asia based or?
I think it's pretty global. Yeah, I think we have a lot of US and also a lot of Asia. Yeah. And also a lot of Australia as well. Yeah.
What are Hong Kong NFT what are Hong Kong NFT buyers like? What are Asia NFT buyers like compared to the NFT buyers you're seeing in the US? Do you notice any differences there?
I think generally, I would say that NFT buyers in Asia, they tend to flip more frequently. Yeah. Because the difference, right, is more meaningful to them in real life. For example, like 0.1 ETH or 0.5 ETH, it actually means something in their actual daily life, right? Yeah, but in the more developed countries, right, 0.5 ETH is some money, right? But it is not game changer. Yeah, that's why they can hold for longer time. And also because most of the good projects, right, they're from the US when they organize activities, right? They're in the US, like NFT NYC, right? Yeah, those are the things that you can really feel and touch. That's why you're willing to hold for longer time. But those are not the thing in Asia. Yeah, because hey, I don't really go to your event. If your NFT doesn't perform, I just sell it right away. Yeah, there's no I would say emotion involved. Yeah. So I think that explains why some projects also some holders, they have different behaviors. Yeah.
Okay. Other questions that have been on my mind, I'm curious your take on. One of the things I've been thinking about lately is in NFTs, I think in Web 2, when I worked at Uber, there's kind of this idea that done is better than perfect. You don't want to slow yourself down so much to make it perfect. I'm starting to think that in NFTs, once you release a project, once you release a set, it's out there for good. It's like you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, and investors are very forgiving of delays if what you ultimately deliver is great. So I've started to think that maybe getting it right is more important than getting it done quickly. But that kind of goes against what your strategy was with potatoes. I'm curious your take there on that idea.
I think most of the time when you look at the best team, right, usually they are having like conflicting characters, right, within that company, right? Even for example, like Uber or Facebook, they talk about can do things quickly, right? But at the end of the day, the quality that they put out there, right, is still higher than most companies out there. Yeah, I think it comes down to the quality of the team, the quality of the product management. Yeah, so I think your fast is actually someone's very slow, right? And the competition at the Uber's level, Facebook level, they're competing with even bigger corporation. Yeah, but not like or traditional corporate industry, but not like the newcomers, right? So I think staying agile is always good. Yeah, but I think what you mentioned about NFT is because the attention span for NFT holders is pretty short. So if you fuck up, basically they kind of like forget it, and then you don't have a chance again. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it also depends on the team how they manage it. Yeah, I think for example, some important events like mints, I think it would be important to kind of like do it right. Yeah, so that you launch it at a time that you feel comfortable. I mean, a little bit uncomfortable, but also comfortable enough to put it out there, right? I think some things that can be done better. I mean, that's something that you have to make sure that is correct. Is your mean contract, right? It can't be wrong. If it fucks up, it actually fuck up people's money, right? So I remember some projects, right? They kind of like roll a wrong smart contract. They get 30 million of funds, but they couldn't really get it back, right? I think that is like sucks for all the parties. Yeah. I think those are the things that you have to do it right, because this is like, I would say, one-way decision. Yeah. But meanwhile, for example, like artworks, right? Yeah, you see a lot of fuck up in artworks in NFT. I mean, people hate that, but deep down, if they believe in the team, you can just kind of like fix it. Yeah, because as long as it's not on IPFS or on chain, right, you can still fix it. Yeah, I think those are the things that you can kind of like launch it faster. Yeah, to see the response from the community, right? And and also how to manage the expectation. I think that part, a lot of team out there is kind of like doing it bad, right? There's no delay if you don't announce a day. Yeah, I think this is something that we learned. Yeah, after launching potatoes, right? I mean, you give a rough day, but you don't say that, hey, this is the day that we will launch. Then you have to say, oh, I'm sorry, I take the full responsibility, and then we have to delay it, right? People hate apology so much on NFT, yeah, because it happens every day. Yeah, what we should do, I mean, at least what we are doing is, this is like probably in Q4, maybe, right? Always probably, and then you add a eye emoji out there, so that when you kind of like have to delay it, people can't hold your works against you. Yeah.
I love that. If you don't announce a date, you cannot have a delay. That's great.
Yeah.
And then just put an approximate time and put the eye emoji, and all is forgiven. So yep. That's some serious project management alpha right there from Ray. Kind of curious your thoughts on royalties. You guys set a pretty chunky royalty at 9%. Obviously right now it's become just a huge kind of controversial topic. I'm curious your take on royalties as far as
this is a very funny topic indeed, right? I mean, one of the new revenue stream from NFT is actually royalty, right? That was like the bling moment for me when NFT is so great, because every time you sell, right, you can still take a cut, right? Instead of like traditional membership, right, where the seller sell it to you one time and then you can't resell it, right? So somehow I feel like royalty is like one of the key element in NFT. Yeah. And then, but after learning it more, right, I just discovered that royalty is not kind of like executed on the contract level, because it's executed on the marketplace level, right? There are a lot of people, they will do P2P or OTC, and then to kind of like skip the royalty. And I think it's okay, but it's not great, right? But right now, more marketplace, they are starting to support 0% royalty, right? And then the first moment, the first impression that I have is that's why we can't have nice things. Yeah. That was my first thoughts, right? After learning that. Yeah. But I would say that, hey, this is what it is, right? And I see that different projects will have different takes. Yeah. My way of doing business or my way of seeing things is you do you, yeah, I do me, right? But don't say that your way is the standard way. Yeah. Because there are so many ways to win. Yeah. Just like traditional media. You can see tons of people, they just give away free content, right? They can be big shot, they can be great content creators. But there are tons of people, they put their content behind a paywall. They are still very big, right? So I believe that there's no one way to win. But down the road, I think there will be a majority way. Yeah. So if you want to go with the so-called minority way, you have to give a good reason for you to continue to do so. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think just like any other business, right? You can't rely on one revenue stream. You have to develop different revenue streams so that you can be more, I would say, safer, right? Yeah, down the road. Yeah. So I think for us, for Memeland, the UW MVP, it's like a very small collection, right? It's like premium pass. We don't really care about whether you trade or not. Yeah, that's why we set a high royalty. And then for potatoes, we set 9% because on one hand I get, on the other hand it's a free mean. That's the only way of revenue, right? From the beginning. Yeah, that's why we also set the 9%. Yeah, but we don't really have intention to change at this moment, right? But on the main collection, the captains will probably still set a pretty high percentage. Yeah, because at the end of the day, if your collection has bright future, people don't really care about your royalties. Yeah, of course, some of them will kind of like try to avoid it, but I would say that most people, they are kind of like lazy, right? So as long as the majority marketplaces, they don't enforce the 0% royalty, I think most people, they will just buy it without going through a lot of troubles. Yeah. And I think there are different ways to handle that. And it's a sensitive topic because no matter what you say, people will feel like, hey, you're against Web3 if you block certain exchange, right? But on the other hand, if you kind of like embrace 0% royalty, people will say that, hey, of course, you make so much money already, you get funding, right? So you try to kind of like squeeze out a little player and stuff like that. So there's no perfect way. That's why I always believe that you do you, I do me. And then if you don't like it, just sell it, right? If you like what we're doing, right? You don't mind pay the royalty. Yeah, I think stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it always has been my view that if you don't want to pay royalties, you just shouldn't buy NFTs that have high royalties. Like there's a very easy way to avoid royalties, and it's just don't buy the ones that have high royalties. And I think you're right, though. It has been pretty wild how little investors have actually implemented that. I think on the way, the way in, people just buy what they want.
Yeah. And also royalty is also sort of, I mean, the thing is, it's kind of like that, right? Yeah, of course, I know that, hey, crypto and Web3 is kind of like permissionless and trustless, right? But somehow, if that is the one of the main revenue stream of the team, and if designed not to pay them, right? Why are you entitled to demand more from the team? Yeah, that's what I think, right? Of course, down the road, if you are the subscription buyers and stuff, right? That's another story. But at the beginning, I always thought that potatoes is a free mean. Yeah, if you buy potatoes, but you don't pay royalty, right? Basically, you pay the other buyers, right? But you don't pay me. Yeah. Then why do I have to care about you that much, right? So to me, and also all the data are on chain. So it's very easy for a project to kind of like, hey, which are the top tier holders, right? Which are the second tier holders, right? There are so many ways to kind of like discriminate them if we want. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I would think that there's like just like a small part of the whole things that we are building, right? We are looking at a bigger picture. If we can execute what we want to build, then the royalty is not even it doesn't matter that much. Yeah, but before that, of course, always better to have more revenue so that the team can more well funded. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is easy to figure out on chain kind of where royalties have been paid and where they haven't. But I just think it's the last thing that NFT creators want to do. You know, like you don't want to have so much work to have to tier out who owns what based on if they paid royalties or not. I mean, it's a tech load. But beyond that, like and you've spoken about this, the way that NFTs do well over time is by a community rallying together and feeling united. And I think that this idea of having the different tiers and that conflict that it creates, and people not feeling good, it's just the only way these things work is if the community rallies together and feels kind of united behind the project. And I think this idea of tearing out your holders based on if they've paid royalties is I'd be very curious to see if that works.
It's not a good way. It's not a good way. It's more like, hey, if you really have to enforce it, right? Then I always believe in give and take. Yeah, that's why if a project actually enforce the so-called tier, right, you probably have to also give more to the people who actually pay the royalties, right? But if you are, but from the team's perspective, if you can give more to your so-called first tier holders, why can't you just give more to the whole holder base, right? So that they feel like, hey, owning your NFT can be like an increase in value over time. So there's so many discussions out there. I'm not an expert in royalty. That's why I don't know. And to be honest, I think no one really is an expert. Yeah, all the so-called analysis, right? Especially the one that is not a project builder, I call bullshit. Yeah, because you don't know the challenges a team is facing when they build. Of course, there are tons of rug pull team out there, right? But there are teams that are actually serious about building, right? If you take away the one revenue stream from them and you say that this is like the right thing to do, I think you should at least not buy the NFT. Yeah. But I think
someone's got to pay for that lifetime supply of McDonald's, right? That doesn't come out of nowhere.
Exactly. Yeah. But also from the project's point of view, it's also kind of like tricky, right? Because you're kind of like defending yourself on charging people, right? And I feel like, why do I have to defend myself, right? I set a price, you like it, you buy it, right? You don't like it, just sell it, right? Don't have to fuck me, right? Yeah, just do it by action instead of your mouth. Yeah. That's why I feel like all the FUD out there, it doesn't really matter, right? As long as you have confidence that you can execute your vision with the resources that you have. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the last topics I want to get your take on. I think I've always thought that one of the next eras or the next stage of NFTs is going to be bigger companies, that come into the space and do it right and do it well. We've had so many companies try, and I think there are examples. Like I thought Tiffany's launch went well. I thought Adidas launch went well. You're seeing different kind of like Web 2 companies come into NFTs and find a niche in here and figure out how to make it work for them. But what would be your advice to companies that have kind of offline businesses or Web 2 businesses, and what are the do's and don'ts when it comes to getting involved in NFTs?
You mentioned about Adidas and Tiffany, right? For Tiffany, I think they work with Deepak, and also for Adidas, they work with G Money, right? I think these two guys, of course, they're still kind of like anonymous, undoxed, right? But somehow they understand NFT quite well. Yeah, that's why when you launch, and you can also leverage the network to make it feel like something premium, other than your existing brand. Yeah, comparing to different sports brand, Nike, they bought the company behind Clone X, right? And then Puma also launched their token, right? But you can see the response is pretty different. Yeah, I would say that they all have good resources to make it right, but somehow how they launch it differentiates the result. Yeah, by the team that they are working with. Yeah, I think most projects, how come? Not just the branded projects like by big brands, but more like most projects. How come they don't work, or how come they can't work? Is the founding team, the founders, right? They don't even buy that many NFTs, right? They are not really into NFT. They only launch a project because they feel like this is a new kind of a way to get money, right? I think that part kind of like explains why it doesn't work. If you want to work from the beginning and then you can make it work, I would say that you are super, super lucky, right? But if you are like a legit brand, you actually want to work on Web3, I would say that at least you hire a team, at least require them, each of them, maybe they need like 500 NFTs in their wallet that they actually bought, right? And then make that guy your team leader. Yeah. So that they know what's the do's and don'ts of a good NFT community. Yeah. And I think that would be the only way that can work. Because at the end of the day, you can't hire someone who doesn't play basketball, right, to coach a basketball team. Yeah, and I think that as simple as that. Yeah, and I think most companies they they don't really have that person because NFT and Web3 is still pretty niche. Yeah, so they just maybe ask a guy to lead the innovation and stuff. And I think usually the guy who wants to join the corporation, right? Maybe they may not be the top tier guy, right? I think if a company can hire the top tier guy, I think that makes everything easier. Yeah.
Yeah, and for you, it was you, right? You spent over 1,000 ETH on NFTs and just dove in yourself and became that insider expert, or did you hire someone from the outside or someone else from outside your company?
I mean, of course, I got some friends and advisors to help me, right? But meanwhile, this is a joke that I share with Memeland community. Is most people kind of like pay to earn, right? I pay to learn, right? I actually PAY to learn, right? I don't really PLAY to earn. Yeah. So when you spend so much of your personal wealth into expensive JPEGs, definitely you learn much faster than someone kind of like read a lot of articles, right? And then comment back and forth, right? I think get your skin in the game, and then you know how hot the water is, and then you can probably learn how to swim better. Yeah,
totally. And based on all this money you've spent, everything you've learned, what's your alpha? What are the NFTs outside of your own ecosystem that you're going to be holding for a long time?
I mean, for me, I always look at the team and also whether they have enough war chests right now. Yeah, because if Web2, if history is a teacher, right? You know that the company that can survive the winter is usually the one that has a better amount of funding, right? And also a stronger community. That's why I think right now, probably the top communities, I think it's a safer bet. Yeah, I always, because I'm kind of lazy, right? So even if I buy, I don't really flip for profits, and I don't degen that much into kind of like free mint and stuff, right? Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's always come down to the team, yeah, and also how devoted they are. NFT is very, very demanding, right? If you don't see the founder use their PFP, use their own PFP as their Twitter profile, right? This is one red flag for me. If you don't see the founders talk to the community, right? This is the second red flag for me. So I think right now, this is, I would say, pretty easy to kind of like spot out the relatively safe one. I wouldn't say they are good ones, but at least those founders, right? They have the heart to build. They are still facing their community every day. I think whether they are successful or not, at least you will have a good journey. Yeah, I think that's what I think about NFT. Yeah, and also buy into a community that is actually fun, right? I mean, those people, for example, one community that I like a lot is Crypto Dick, but yeah, basically it's like very random meme making stuff. I mean, people flip for profit and stuff, right? But it's just for fun. Yeah, when you don't have any commitment, I think this is also another good way because you don't have expectation. People won't get disappointed, so that the floor won't be bombed. But somehow down the road, if you are kind of like one of the OGs in the space, maybe when people try to buy into that category, they will buy into that collection. Yeah. So, I mean, there are many ways. I'm totally not a good investor. I'm more like a project maker, right? But somehow I think after wasting or investing so much ETH, I would say that, yeah, I learned some lessons. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a magic to keeping things fun and lighthearted, but it's not easy. And I think we like with Crypto Dick Butts, you have such a long, like they've been around for, I think over a year. I mean, it's been around for a while. Yeah. And, I think when you have those longer histories combined with fun communities, like it's a bit more of a recipe for success, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about meeting the NFT community where we are, getting G Money, getting Deepak, getting the insiders to support the projects and advise, like that's clearly important. How are you? I think the other thing that's exciting about 9gag is that you do have 200 million users from the outside world that you can help onboard into Web3. Are you seeing that as something that works or as a possibility for you and a competitive advantage over time?
I think over time, definitely there's an advantage, right? Because at the end of the day, we kind of like the team behind is the same, right? So I think if there is any collaboration, it's kind of like no brainer, yeah. But I won't be overconfident to say that, hey, it's so easy to bridge Web 2 and Web 3 because we are NIGAD. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's not the way to go, because the biggest difference is seeing content on NIGAD or on our social media, right? It doesn't take money, right? Yeah. But meanwhile, buying into NFT, no matter how cheap it is, you still have to pay money, right? I think even a small sum, it will deter a lot of people, from buying. Yeah. Until there's until this is like a norm, that, hey, it's very normal, right? And this is something that we want to do with our second product. We call it GM, which is like, hey, can we make creating NFT as simple as creating a social content, right? But the creator can make some of the content, also the NFT, some of the content become like the NFT, so that the hardcore fans, they can actually own it. They can actually buy it, right? So it's like a combine of Instagram or TikTok and also OnlyFans in a way, so that, you can still get a lot of free distribution, for people who can't pay, and then you monetize them in its way, and also you can also got hardcore users who are willing to own your content, and then you give more perks, more direct contact, more direct relationship with them. I think this is a way that is pretty straightforward, right? I don't know which company can do it, but this is also another product idea that we are planning to do as well. Yeah.
So you just dropped it on top of Memeland, on top of Captains, on top of holders.com, and on top of Memecoin. You also have something called GM coming out soon, or not soon, but coming out eventually.
Yeah, coming out eventually, not very soon. But I mean, the thing is, it's like step by step, right? You learn how to walk, and then you learn how to run, right? And ideally, you learn how to fly. Yeah, for us, launching NFT projects give us a taste in how to manage the community. And then after learning what they need, what they want, what problems should be solved, then we will launch holders.com. And then, hey, once we get holders.com, that means what? That means we can get a lot of participants in the space, right? Then it makes sense for us to onboard Web2 creators into the space, right? Because most of the creators, even if they have 1 million fans on Instagram, how many of their fans actually buy NFT or own cryptocurrency, right? That's a big question. But if we have a platform that gathers like 1 million NFT degens, right? Then any creators coming in, they have a target pool to launch the NFT into. So I would say that there are steps when we launch a product. But of course, when we say that, of course, the market will change. Maybe someone launch a very successful product, solving the problems that we mentioned, right? Then we may not do it. But down the road, I would say that this is like a no-brainer and very straightforward way. And this is also a way to show that not because we are big in Web2 so that we are super confident. It's more like, hey, we don't know whether we can do it, but somehow I think that this is like a safer way after learning in Web3 for a year. Yeah.
I will say that for someone who says that roadmaps don't work, you got a pretty big roadmap going on here.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I feel like roadmap is like a very bad analogy. Yeah. I mean, that's why we pick a pirate as the theme, because it's like sailing on the sea. Yeah. You have North Star, you have a destination, right? But on the sea, you have, but in the sea, you still have rocks, you still have kind of like other ships, you also have bad weather and stuff like that, right? You navigate, but you don't go straight forward. Yeah. I think it's okay that you kind of like navigate longer, right? But arrive at the destination. Instead of, hey, this is the road, I have to go this road. Yeah. I think the analogy is very different. Yeah. So I feel like, So when you look at comics or animation, right, there are tons of private comics over there. There are not that many comics that to kind of like, you are just an explorer, unless the Dora the Explorer, right? Yeah. So that you have to go to a destination, go to that road, and then the story of that kind of stories, you always get lost, And that's why I feel like a good analogy, a good metaphor is sailing on the sea. That's why the captains, one of the reasons why we picked the private theme is also because of that. Yeah.
I mean, this concept that you just brought up, though, I think is so big. It's the idea that you have all these Instagram creators and influencers who are truly like amazing creators, amazing creatives. I mean, NFTs have been built. We have a pretty strong ecosystem versus 2 years ago, and and a lot of the people building the biggest projects are not people whose specialty is creative. And the idea of getting people who really are phenomenal creators to come into this world to use it as a source of funds, to give their fans a direct outlet to them, and for their fans to kind of get access to the creators that you wouldn't get, of someone who has 3 million followers on Instagram, and basically all you can do is like or comment or whatever. Like that feels like a real use case. I think that's a very interesting place you can go.
It feels pretty stupid, right? If I'm a creator, if I have 1 million fans on Instagram, not super big on Instagram, I probably can make a living, but not a very good living. Yeah. But the thing is, if I launch an NFT, right now, it seems like the matter is you have to hire an artist to either draw an artwork or draw your face in different artwork style, right? And then you launch a like 5K or 10K collection. It feels so disconnected from what I do every day. And no wonder people feel like this is a cash grab, right? Because I don't really like your artwork. I like your daily content, right? I mean, there are a few media brands that kind of launch a pass. I think that makes more sense. For example, like Nifty Portal, right? And also maybe like Full Zen. I think that makes more sense because it's not like an artwork, but more like a membership pass, yeah. But for more like creative creators, like the one that are on TikTok or Instagram, I think it makes sense for them. Their content is the NFT, but not they have to hire an artist to draw another set of NFT. Yeah. The thing is, how we can kind of like bridge that and make it very seamless. That is the real challenge. I believe that day will come. Yeah, but I don't know when. But this is the direction. It's kind of like, hey, we are sailing, right? We know that if we kind of like keep going to that direction, we will see it closer. Yeah, we don't know when, but that will be that destination will be closer to us. Yeah.
Yeah. So, final couple questions. In 5 years, when people talk about 9gag Memeland, what do you think they're saying about this company? Like, how much of it is dominated by 9gag? How much is dominated by Memeland? Like, what's your ideal scenario there?
I think 9gag would position itself as a Web2 company. Yeah, because it's like more like a media brand. And when people talk about 9gag, they always think about, hey, it's like a funny meme brand, right? Yeah, so I think 9gag is always Web2. Yeah, but for Web3, I think somehow we don't really want people to think about Memeland as much as we want people to think about MemeCoin, yeah, or the ecosystem that we build. Because at the end of the day, Memeland is just like a company name. Yeah. But what we are actually building, the products that we are building, I hope that their name will be bigger than 9gag, their name will be bigger than Memeland. Yeah.
So holders.com, GMGM, the meme token,
yeah,
all those things put together.
Yeah.
And let's do a little bit of alpha here on the Captain's launch. You don't have to tell me anything that's not known, but when are you planning on dropping that?
Q4. Yeah. I mean, if the market doesn't crash and I don't die, yeah, probably Q4. Yeah. And probably mid Q4. Yeah, I would say. Yeah.
All right. So something like November type timeline.
Yeah, hopefully, yes. Yeah,
because the 2 eyes emoji on it.
Because the thing is, for holidays, right, like Christmas and stuff, people are with their family, right? Finally, they go out to touch grass. They prioritize family higher, right? I think those are the times that would be a bad time for any launches. Yeah, not just NFTs. Yeah.
So you got to beat the punch to Thanksgiving. You don't want to be at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And which potatoes are going to get access to it? To the captains? How are you going to decide which potatoes?
We have been thinking so hard about that because the minting mechanism, I would say, is the first biggest challenge for any project, right? Given the matter right now, given the market right now is pretty dead. Yeah, I mean, I see there are some interesting mechanism out there, right? But I feel like, it works for that project. But because that project has launched and then the secondary market kind of like die, and then people kind of like hate that mechanism. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that mechanism is bad. It's just that it's good for that project, but not good for Memeland. Yeah. And I feel like there are some very interesting observations. Most people feel like auction is bad. Yeah, I don't know why, but they assume that auction means high price. And high price means that there's not that much profit left for the secondary market. That's why the secondary market will be bad, right? And I would say 50% of people who buy your NFT is for profit. Yeah, so somehow that deters like 50% of people. They may still buy, but they hate that, right? And I feel like, hey, if people hate your project, somehow you don't want them to be your holders. So I think we kind of like test the water to talk about that with our community, and people just fucking hate, right? And then we kind of like go back and then from the drawing board, and then we figure out some way. Yeah. And basically, the way that we are doing is, I would say that this is pretty innovative in NFT space so far. Because on one hand, we have to handle our allow list, which is our meme list. On the other hand, we also have to handle our free collection, the potatoes, right? And also, we also want to make sure that there's enough interest and also attention from the broader NFT space. So basically, what we are thinking right now is there will be 3 groups of people minting the captains. Number 1 is meme list. Number 2 is the potatoes. And we will be introducing something called the wait list, which is like, hey, if the potatoes, if the meme list people, they don't mint, then you have a chance to mint as a wait list. But the thing is, hey, it seems like the priority is so low, right? What's the point of getting the wait list? This is something that we also try to innovate a little bit. Is can we give you something back if you mint but didn't get it, right? I think this is something that is not yet done, in any project so far, because to the project, people who really own the NFT is the contributors, right? But for us, because we are building a bigger ecosystem, even if you don't own our NFT right now, but if you were part of us, if you kind of like give us the trust and support, we want you to be in our ecosystem as well. Yeah. So I think this we will be announcing more details when the time is closer. But I think that is like a pretty bulletproof way in this I would say bad market. Yeah.
How many captains are there going to be?
9,999. So it's like a 10K collection. Yeah.
So it definitely can't be a thing where all the potatoes get one, right? Because you already have the MVPs getting
not all the potatoes get one. Yeah, but potatoes has very, very high priority. Yeah, I think this is also one of the reasons why people buy potatoes, right? I mean, they like potatoes, but they don't really love potatoes that much. They always feel like, hey, I buy potatoes so that I can get a chance in the main collection. But I think this is so wrong from the project standpoint is, hey, we spend so fucking much time to do the gradual review, to do the artwork and stuff. Why would we give up the potatoes after we launch the main collection, right? So the position for us is potatoes will be the companion to the captains. So holding them both will give you superpower, right, down the road. Yeah, but right now, if you hold potatoes, right, you have a very, very high chance to get a captains. Yeah, so this is our promise to our community. But also we want our communities to know that, hey, this is not a condom that you use it for one time. Yeah, this is actually something useful in the down the road. Yeah.
So you promise that they will probably get one.
You probably get one. Yeah, but somehow, of course, they still have to pay. Yeah, we don't. Because the thing is, we do potatoes as a free mean, so that people in our community who don't have that many resources, right, they can be part of our community, right? So for the for the main collection, the captains, we need to make it a pay mean so that we get the funding we need to build out the vision that we have. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the free mint meta like sort of works, and I think at the same time, you make your money back in royalties, and a lot of people don't get it, and it can kind of be good and bad at the same time. Excellent, cool. Well, thank you so much for coming. I really, when I think, like I said earlier, when I think about NFTs, it's just such an attention game, and there are the ability to have a voice and be funny and kind of get viral marketing and maintain people's attention. And, 9gag just feels like such a perfect fit for that and for some people, it's not the version of NFTs that they want. They want more of an art based, but you can't argue that this is the version of NFTs that we have arrived at. And it is so hard to maintain attention over time. And I think that, you guys have been in business since 2008. Last time we spoke, you said you started as a nobody, living in Hong Kong, no reason for anyone to focus on you, and and here you are now. So definitely something I'm going to be tracking really, really closely.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, now, I think the last thing that I want to say is when we were nobody, right, and we started 9gag, we still could build 9gag to today's, I would say, so-called achievement, right? I wouldn't say success, but so-called achievement, right? Right now, with 14 years of experience, right, older, wiser, also factor, right? Yeah, probably we can build something bigger, right? Because we understand more about product management, team management, right? And also the tech itself also enable more people from all around the world to participate in the ecosystem. So I'm super bullish in Web3 in general, also in Memeland in general. Otherwise, why would I spend my time on this project, right? This is a new project for me, super demanding, right? I talk to our holders like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning, right? I enjoy that, but also enjoy sleep, right? So I'm really bullish in this. That's why I spend my time on it, so that I want more people to understand what we are building, to be part of our journey. Yeah.
Got it. No, that's awesome. I just laughed. I looked at your Twitter. I have a dream by the 76ers and change the name to the 69ers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just shit posting. Yeah.
How long have you had this account for? 9gag CEO?
I think a few months. Yeah.
Wow.
A few months. Yeah.
And you got to 205,000 followers.
I mean,
damn.
Sam, if you launch your own project, you can hit like 150K easy, but because there are tons of bots and whitelist grinder and stuff.
Got it.
So I mean, I respect the account that doesn't give away whitelist spots. Yeah.
So you've done whitelist. You give away?
No, I never do it. Yeah, but I do Memeland giveaway. I don't do other accounts giveaway.
Got it.
But when I look at an account, whether I decide I want to follow it, whether the account do whitelist giveaway, I think it's a big factor. Yeah, because with that, it's like there's a lot of facts. Yeah, it's not muscle. Yeah.
I've never done a single one. I've never given anyone anything, never taken a single dollar. Yeah, I refuse whitelists. Even if I like the project, I'm just like that. I don't want to build followers that way. So
yeah, I think this is the way. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, that is it for this episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you would like to help us out, head on over to proof.xyz and click on the reviews button at the very top and leave us a 5-star review. Thanks so much. Take care.